Hello, we're live. Hello and welcome. My name is Rob, and you're on the channel Performance Check. And today I'm basically doing this live broadcast to essentially record what it's like, or record the methods that I use to begin preparing a brand new campaign. And the setting or the system that I'll be using is Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. And I'm basically going to do this from scratch. So it's going to be good. This is actually in place of a game that I run called the Lorekeepers online. I've done one session so far. The second session was due to be tonight, but unfortunately, one of my players, Tim Carney from Tabletop Terrors, is beset on all sides by the wind and howling rain from Hurricane Matthew. So my thoughts and best wishes go out to him, because obviously we weren't able to play. So instead I thought I'd do this. So just to explain briefly, I'm going to be doing this as a home game. I've recently moved. I'm actually in my new bedroom, and I'm actually just sort of in a corner. I don't know if you can see this. This is just a small alcove that I've just positioned myself in because it's the only place in the house right now that I can film with decent light and stuff. So I'm just gonna have to make do. But because I've moved to a new place, I've got some new players that want to play D&D, and I will be running the session. It's pretty exciting, and I'm going to be setting it in the Nine Kingdoms. And the Nine Kingdoms is where is basically my setting, essentially, that I've used for the Lorekeepers, which you can see on my channel. Do go ahead and watch it. It's a great game. And it's also going to be the staging area for this campaign, because I thought I could use this home game to inform the greater world that I'm still creating to this day. So I've come up with a few ideas, and this is the crucial, the most crucial element of, in my mind, beginning a campaign, beginning to basically create a campaign, and that is to really nail down your ideas and themes. This is something actually that me and Lloyd on our pilot episode of World Building, World Workshop. I always forget the name. I don't know why. I just can't retain that name in my brain. It's weird. But we were talking about the importance of themes and how that informs the rest of the world that you're building. And kind of the setting, whether it be high fantasy, dark fantasy, low magic, high magic. It's all things that you need to consider. So basically, I began by asking my girlfriend, who is going to be playing in this campaign, what her friends, because I'm running it for her friends as well, what her friends kind of want. What are they gonna want to take from this? And the answer that I received was that they want to begin, at least two of them, in a traveling circus of some type. Right? So I said, okay, all right, a traveling circus. What would a traveling circus be like in Dungeons and Dragons or in the Nine Kingdoms, for my sake? And I figured this is a really, really great way of taking advantage of some themes. Circus can be very scary, carnival kind of style. It can be quite intimidating. So I thought, well, this is already giving me an idea of the kind of tone and theme that I want to go with. This is going to be kind of a dark, kind of horrible carnival on the road that basically have a freak show. They have all sorts going on, okay? And they're going to be part of this traveling freak show. So I think that's already given me some idea of the tone. So, I mean, it's important to make sure that you ask your players what they want to get out of it. And that's what they wanted, apparently, so I'm giving it to them. So it's great. And that's also allowed me to sort of focus on what I want this area of the world to be like. And I've gone with the name Scania. Scania is a play on a number of different languages, kind of word for stage. I figured if they're going to be a performative bunch from this carnival, um, this circus or whatever, it might be quite cool to have that kind of almost that element bleed into the world surrounding them. So we're seeing it through a particular lens. So I went with Scania. So Scania is a brand new kingdom in the Nine Kingdoms. I did actually have a bunch of um, names for the Nine Kingdoms. I thought I'm going to create all of them at the same time. Not the best, not the best approach. As many will tell you, it is sometimes better to begin small and then, go from there. And I ignored that. There are a whole bunch of different kingdoms at the moment, and I need the Nine Kingdoms. Why 9? Because it sounds good, and I can't call it the Seven Kingdoms, can I? Because that's Westeros. I will at some point be naming the world, but I wanted to take my time with it. So for now, it's the Nine Kingdoms. I don't know why I've gone on a rant about the different Nine Kingdoms, but anyway. So this is Scania. I had to think to myself, well, what do I want Scania to be like? So, like I say, it's going to have the elements of performance and circus and stuff bleeding into it. Not in every aspect of it, but I kind of like that idea of all of the world being a stage, as it were. So anyway, I started collecting these ideas down, and the most important thing anyone will tell you is to make sure that you're writing these down or you're storing them somewhere, because you need to obviously be able to correlate that into something that you can basically take record of and use later. I'm just going to have a quick check into some documents that I have on here. I will say this is intended to be a casual stream, so I don't really have any kind of set format about how I'm going to be creating this, but I'm just going to see how it goes. So I've got actually a fair bit of work to do, because this is actually happening tomorrow, but what with me moving house and stuff and unpacking everything, it's been crazy, and I have had some time to think about this, but not really to actually put pen to paper. That's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. So I know that I'm including these elements. And I know Scania, I want it to be quite dark, but not an evil kind of feeling, just it's a kind of misty. I imagine looking at this, if you were to look at Scania, you would see just a sea of a forest, a misty, dark forest, with really, any towns that they have come across are going to have like crooked kind of architecture. Basically, everything is a little bit obscure, as it were. That I just made that word up. Obscure. Askew is what I was trying to say. So it's sort of this very crooked kind of world, and I don't know why it's like that yet. That's the thing. I'm gonna hopefully find out by playing the game, and seeing what happens. But so I'm basically trying to get a mood in my head. Something that I like to try and do when dreaming up a world is to try and think of that world as a character. So if I thought of Farwide as a character, which is the realm that my current online game is in, Farwide. I thought of it as a if it was going to be a character, it would be kind of aloof. It would be stubborn and mysterious. And it was those kind of things that I thought of, and I thought that that's a person. And then basically every decision I make about Farwide basically goes through this filter of that kind of emotional spectrum, that kind of mood spectrum of what it is. So with Scania, I guess I kind of wanted that Scania to be mysterious too, which is it's odd. I guess I like mystery, I suppose. Um, I like the idea of the magic there being kind of, it's not high magic, it's not glitzy, it's not flashy, it's all very underhanded and nuanced and subtle. I always remember watching the Lord of the Rings films, particularly Fellowship of the Ring, how Gandalf's power is always, it's never really seen as a light. He doesn't ever fire a lightning bolt out of his hand, put it that way. Like if he wants to light something on his staff, he blows on it, and he just sort of makes things appear, and it's almost like you have to do a double take to see if he actually did magic or not. um that's what I want the magic to be like in Scania. It's all kind of just a bit that gesture, apparently it's a bit weird. Okay, so it's really hard to concentrate and do work and do a stream. Maybe this wasn't I'm not used to having to talk my way through making a campaign. So anyway, I've got all these elements of these ideas of the setting, of the tone, and the mood. I now need to actually think of what's going to be happening in this first session. Now, as I mentioned before, they're going to be part of this carnival. They're part of this strange cabaret that wanders around the world. And it's I had this idea that it's going to be a very important festival that's going to be taking place. So I'm going to write that down. An important festival. And this festival is taking place at a site known as the Standing Stage, which is an ancient, it's the ruins of an ancient amphitheatre that once stood proud, is now merely rubble, but the actual stone stage, this carved stone stage with ornate carvings in the back of it, on the front of the stage as well, is the thing that mainly survives. And I liked the idea of this once being the stage of the Fae, where the Fae would dance and cavort. They'd dance and cavort, and they'd have a great time. But that was in the old days when such merry things were still happening. Nowadays, not so much. So it's this dank, ancient stone stage that sits on the borders of a great forest. And every year, the troupe basically play there, and people from all over, tradesmen and merchants and things, set up shop. Traveling tradesmen all set up their shops and tents and stuff at this place, at the Standing Stage. And that is where they're going to be. That's where we're going to begin. That's where we're going to begin the session, is at the Standing Stage, and it is their performance that I'm going to begin with. And I figured that instead of having the players sit down with me at the very beginning and I ask them, tell me a bit about your character, and they go, well, my character is called Mara and she can do this. Her mother was killed by orcs and then she went and killed the orcs, blah blah blah. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, look, this is you doing your act. Essentially, this is you doing your act at the carnival. Tell me, what is it you're doing? I know one of them is a gladiator, so some kind of weapon discipline oriented kind of performance is going to take place. It was described to me as if it was like a hacker, the half orc version of the hacker. I know this is actually my girlfriend's character. She looked up the Orcish for victory, and that is what that dance is called. I wish I remember the name. That's what she's going to be doing. So by doing that, I'm going to be able to allow them to showcase their character from the very beginning, doing something they're good at doing, rather than them just saying, this is, and they can do this. No, it's, this is my character. I want to do this, and to impress the audience. I know another one is typically a bard, which is quite helpful. And I believe she's going to be more focused on the storytelling element than the actual musical instruments, which I find pretty cool, pretty awesome. And I know the two characters aren't connected with Carnival. They're going to be around in this festival when it kicks off. So I've made that. So not only have I worked out the tone and the general kind of themes I want running through it. Well, I haven't really thought of a proper theme yet, but I'll get to that. I've also thought of the beginning of the where this is going to start. Now, it's all well and good having this carnival, and it's going to be a really cool, vibrant opening. However, this is going to be a game I should have explained earlier for a few beginners. There's going to be a number of beginners with me. I say a number, 2 beginners with me. So I'm going to have to make sure that I basically do that thing you do when you're a DM and you've got someone who's playing for the first time. You have to some extent, talk them through what they're doing throughout the game. However, I don't ever like saying, this is how you do this before. I always do it during the game. And one of the key elements of D&D is combat. Let's face it, it's a big portion of what makes this game this game. And sure enough, combat is going to erupt. I have an idea of the villains of the campaign, and I have an idea of what they're going to be doing. And I have an idea as to what is going to be inevitably attacking this this festival as it goes on. I do like having my villains make an entrance, and I mean, even in my first Lorekeepers game, my main villain attacks from the very beginning, essentially. But it is a really good way of doing it, of introducing a villain and also, getting the story going. Seeing that they're a threat. But I've thought of these villains are actually working for the overall villain, which I won't go into because this is about session 1. And this villain is going to be a former a former orc slave. Essentially, he used to be a slave. There is going to be a element of slavery among some of the races for orcs. Some of them get captured and put to work, essentially, and it's not good. It's not a good thing to do, but it happens nonetheless. And this particular orc is known as Lashback. Lashback got his name. He got his name. He earned his name for he is the only orc to have known to have taken 100 lashes to the back and remain conscious. That's how he got his name. And essentially, he is a militant, frightening individual. However, his reason for being angry is justified in a way, in his mind at least. He's called Lashback. And the other thing I like to do with villains as well is always give them some kind of flair about them, something that you won't forget about them. Put it this way, with Equinox as my main villain for the Lorekeepers, I wanted him to stand out. So I was like, right, this guy who wears a mask, but he's only got one eye, and that eye has some serious capabilities about it, and it glows yellow. I find colours as well are quite helpful for that as well, for because a lot of players, they'll play and they, most players don't remember as much as the DM when it comes to the actual game. It's just, a thing. So with Lashback, I decided that when he was a slave, yeah, sure, he took 100 lashes to the back, and he was fine. Well, not fine, but he took it, but on many occasions he tried to escape. So one time Lashback tried to escape. He got caught. He was imprisoned, and he had his toes cut off. Yep, every single one of them off. Bam. That meant he wouldn't be able to run away again, but he would still be able to be there to mine into a mine that he was basically being forced to work at. So his toes cut off, and that means he can't really run and move anywhere. Well, that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? So I decided that Lashback is going to have these massive metal supports on his legs, essentially. These leg braces that he stomps around in. It makes him much taller than a normal orc, and it makes him look an awful lot more frightening as well. So he is going to be stomping around with these metal encased legs, right? With these lashes on his back, and he's going to fight with a chain. Essentially, he's going to have chains around his arms, and wielding them around like that, I guess. I'm not an expert at fighting with chains. So that's Lashback. He is now the leader of this splinter group called the Broken Chain. They are basically all freed slaves that are basically have been given money. They have formed an organization, have been given money by someone to basically go about enacting their own cause of justice or revenge, or whatever, on the society that kept them under the thumb. And as this, oh, pardon me, goodness me, live as well. Oh dear, I had a really good dinner there, by the way. So thank you for your concern, guys. Where was I? Okay, yeah. So this society that has enforced slaves upon the orcs in Scania, there's a huge divide between the rich and the poor, basically. And with that, there comes there's a hierarchy in society. And the Broken Chain don't like that, because only the rich have slaves. And any kind of display of lavish, over the top kind of spending behavior on expensive wine and fruits and things like that is looked down upon by the Broken Chain, and so do celebrations like this festival that is taking place on this night. I think you can probably see where this is going. So I'm going to have the opening encounter be Lashback attacking the festival with orcs and maybe goblins as well. I don't know. I can see that there's 3 people watching. Hello, thank you ever so much for joining me, by the way. I know that this is really, really casual and it's kind of just off the top of my head, but that's how I go about creating things. I basically just have a conversation with myself in my head. At this time I'm speaking it loud, but I have the opportunity of having you guys watching. If you would like, I would not blame you if you do not, but if you would like, hop into the chat and tell me, these people are going to be, because they're beginners, I'm having them start at level 1. Now, the issue I have at the moment that this is one thing I do need to work out. The level 1, if I have a huge, a terrifying splinter group of ex-slaves, orcs, stomping in, orcs are pretty good, they're pretty hardcore. I wish I had brought the monster manual upstairs with me. Basically, I work out all these details. Statting is the last thing I do, because I figure the devil is in the details rather than the numbers in the book. Do I just go with orcs and pull my punches a little bit, or do I have the orcs have another force with them that they can fight, like goblins, for instance? But I kind of like the idea of these militant orcs just being them. But if you have any suggestions, do let me know in the chat. If not, don't worry. I wouldn't blame you, because this is really kind of not even organized in the way that I'm doing this stream. So I do apologize for that. So that's basically going to be my opening encounter. It's going to be the Broken Chain attacking this festival, and the players are going to be thrown into this confused and chaotic situation. And their battle is going to take place with these orcs or whatever they are, they turn out to be, whether they're going to be goblins to make it a bit more challenge rating friendly. Basically attacking them whilst they're on the stage. I have a message in the chat. Cave Dogs. Hello, Cave Dogs. Thank you ever so much for dropping in. Means a lot. Harry as well. Thank you very much. So let's see what you guys have said. So perhaps the orcs, being associated with slavery, are keen to leave survivors or take slaves of their own. That's a very good idea, Cave Dogs. Perhaps they do want to take slaves of their own. That's an excellent idea. I'm going to write that down with Cave Dogs. I'm stealing it and you can't. No, I'm kidding. I will definitely consider using that though. That's a really good idea because that could put them into a really tense situation. The only thing that I say about that though is when you've got these situations, you need to be careful taking your players alive, because there can be an awful lot of problems when a player says, oh no, but I can do this, and then you then can't take them alive. They don't want to be taken alive, and it's tricky. So, but I do definitely take your point. I would kind of like them to win as I have new players. It would be quite nice for them to win their first fight, but then again, maybe it's better for the story. That's the thing, you've got to consider that you obviously want new people to enjoy it, because otherwise they might not want to play again, which would be dreadful. So I am definitely writing that down, man. I really like the idea of them taking their own slaves, but then it might make them seem a little hypocritical, but then again, who cares? So Broken Chain. I am basically just writing this on a pad, by the way. I'm not, because I won't have my laptop with me at the table. I only use my laptop when I'm gaming online, for obvious reasons, moron. But yeah, I like to just have a pen and paper with me. So Broken Chain attacks. Takes players as slaves. Excellent. Okay. So what else we got? I've got Harry saying in the chat, orcs can work. Might want to change the weapon to lessen the damage though. That's another good idea, Harry. I mean, that's a good trick of the trade actually, is to ensure that while they are heavy on the damage, if you have not as good a weapon, they're going to do less damage. Perhaps these particular orcs from the Broken Chain have literally just escaped and don't really have the benefit of a huge arsenal to pick from. So that's a good idea too. I will definitely put down that they have potentially lesser weapons than usual. Good stuff. Kudos. Take it all, baby. Okay, that's really good, guys. Thank you ever so much for your help there. Okay, so if I go with them to it being captured, or I tell you what, actually, I will. As you guys are watching and you've helped me there, what do you say? Do you think that they should be captured, or do you think that because they're new players, they should win their first fight? Do I succumb to the experience, or this? Well, it depends, doesn't it? It does depend. You know what I mean, though. Do I let them win essentially, or do I have them be taken as slaves? It's an interesting one. It's clever. I just closed the chat, so that wasn't great. Let's see. Nothing yet. Well, I tell you what. Let's move on for the time being, and I'll have a look again in a moment. So, the orcs have attacked, and they. It does actually depend whether or not. I mean, am I going to have to write two? I guess I could write two endings, or I say endings, two encounters based on whether or not they get captured or not, because then the next part of that obviously is that they escape. So maybe I could have an escape encounter. That's quite exciting. Escape encounter. Now, the troubling thing is that they from the very beginning have said that they wanted to be part of this carnival. However, if I present them with a huge party of orcs that just mash them, okay, they're probably going to want revenge. So I'm going to need to, if they are going to capture them, and this is going to be the way it's going to go, something important that you need to emphasize with any player of any experience level is whether they can win a fight or not. If they decide that they want revenge, but see that these orcs are terrifying, huge, and numerous, all around them, it might make them think twice about fighting them. But these are new players, so perhaps they will say, I want to fight them. It's tricky, isn't it? I mean, to be honest, I'm really enjoying having an element of open-endedness with this particular campaign. I think that is one benefit for doing a home game that isn't being recorded or anything like that. You don't have to worry about. I mean, you don't have to do this anyway, but I know that I do. When I watch a game online, for instance, I like it to be enjoyable to watch. I like the fact that I don't have to be playing this game, this story, to have a good time. I can watch it as a viewer. So with this, I'm not as worried about letting them meander and try different stuff, because if you do that on an online game, then you are, while obviously it's fun to see the outcome of different encounters from their various wanderings, it does make it a bit sloppier in terms of storytelling. So it's kind of that balance, really. I can see there's some more stuff in the chat. Cavedox and Harry again. You guys are wonderful. So Cavedox says, I like a victory, but a minor victory. If there is a lot of conflict, a lot of NPCs going down, then it's easy for unconscious people to be missed. It's very true, Cavedox. That's very true indeed. I was actually thinking of them actually escaping. One escape route that I've thought of already, if they were to run away, is to go within the standing stage. And I was thinking this actually might be my first dungeon, beneath the stage. Like I say, it's a ruined amphitheater. I like to think there's stuff beneath it as well. An important thing to know is, like, when you're designing a dungeon, you need to ensure that it was a place, it had a function. Well, the function of this was that it used to be a theatre, or it used to be an area where performances occurred. And from my own profession, I know that there's some horrible things that can be stored in such a building, so including terrifying masks and costumes. So that's really good. That's a really good idea. I hadn't thought of this before, but I'm just thinking about it now, and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, there's going to be horrifying things beneath this stage. But anyway, sorry, I was reading. Yeah, so you're absolutely right, though. Unconscious people are very easy to miss in a pile of dead bodies. Absolutely, without a doubt. Harry P says, let them win and take someone they care about as a slave instead. That's not a bad idea at all, Harry. I mean, that's a pretty good idea to have someone that they care about captured, because then they're going to try and want to rescue them, right? Absolutely. Well, I will see who they respond to, because in terms of NPCs, I always wait. NPCs are. I have a really good time with NPCs, because I can't remember if I've ever said this in one of my videos or not, but sometimes, every now and then, I like to just have a little bit of a jab at the players to test them. If this is, say for instance, I have a really nice, to use alignment here, lawful good paladin, and then you just do something to them that just annoys them a little bit. You just someone steals something off him, or someone, no, it's not even someone steals something off him. It's something like, someone just insults him, something was really rude to him, just to see what they do. Because you can learn a lot from the players by how they react from different situations, and it is important to remember which buttons you can press. I'm not saying that you be no, I am definitely saying you should be manipulative, and just play with people's emotions. I know it sounds weird, but trust me, like you can gain a lot from testing people and seeing how they react. If you have someone who always runs headfirst into a conflict, that's a really easy way to set up some drama. You can have someone run into a conflict that they then realize perhaps they can't win. So it's interesting things like that. Um, so yeah, that's exciting. So let's see. I've got some more comments here. So let them win. Oh yeah. So yeah, take someone that they care about as a slave. Excellent point, Harry. Cave docs. Um, I like Harry's idea. Have to establish a strong relationship with an NPC pretty quickly, though. Absolutely, and it's like I say, it was yeah, it should be it shouldn't be forced. You need to just throw a whole bag of tricks out there. You need to just say this is one character. So say this is going to be a traveling circus or troupe, then I'm going to need some kind of announcer. So if I have Rogart, I'm going to call him Rogart. Rogart is going to be the announcer, who perhaps he also owns it as well. Proprietor, the proprietor of the carnival. Okay, of the carnival. So it's him, and I'll see if they react to him, and if they actually end up liking him, then perhaps I'll choose him to be nicked by the orcs. Or perhaps it is another character who's waiting in the wings, who's someone who helps do the costume changes, or someone who helps um, um, like have the music. It'd be a musician, perhaps. Or someone who's a stage manager. It isn't going to be like a modern theatre or anything, but it's someone who I'm basically just going to fling a whole different bunch of characters at them and see if they particularly go to one or the other. Um, then by doing that, I know then which one they care about, and then I know which one to have seized by the forces of the broken chain. Um, Cave Dogs, you should definitely be manipulative. From 2060, absolutely, you should definitely be manipulative. Absolutely, I mean that's the best story. I mean, isn't it? Like if you're the best kinds of stories are when things don't go people's way. You don't have an exciting journey if you don't um, have challenges to face. Um, excellent. This is really exciting. So number of NPCs. Okay, so I've got Rogart, who's the proprietor and announcer. Someone's just messaged me on Facebook. I didn't realise that was still open. Excuse me one moment. How dare I be interrupted on my live stream? I'm very tired, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know whether you could have noticed that. As you may have seen from one of my videos that I posted like a couple of weeks ago, I was mid-move. I was going out of my mind in terms of the lack of sleep, because I was also doing a touring show. Um, yeah, and I was just traveling a lot back and forth around the country, and it really took it out of me. And I did a video like at 7 in the morning outside a really big cathedral. People probably thought that I was insane. That's nothing new, really. So, okay, so that's my introduction. Now, if I have the an NPC taken, then where are they going to go? The thing is, I've actually really liked the idea, because I did think before about this dungeon in the stage, and I thought mid-combat, a trapdoor opens. Maybe is that a bit too contrived? The thing is, I'm really enjoying having this campaign as a method of experimenting. This is me just dropping things here and there and seeing what will work. Um, in fact, I'm going about this in a completely different way than I did to Lorekeepers. Lorekeepers, I thought of story elements and ideas of how characters could potentially have a story arc and how they could grow as people. This I'm thinking more about as if, what could I make work? How can I make things a little different? But to be fair, I mean, being attacked by orcs at the very beginning is kind of classic as well. So in a way, I'm trying to make things relatively familiar for the newcomers as well, for it to be essentially the quintessential D&D experience is going to be these elements. So we're going to have our skill challenges with the performance. We're going to have our combat challenge with the attack, and then social stuff, things like that. Oh, I've got a chase scene under the stage, under the theatre. That's a good idea, actually, Harry. It's don't worry, man. I have to correct myself all the time. That's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea at all. I was thinking though that beneath this stage there might be. I was thinking it would be really cool if there was these enemies in masks underneath the stage, and I don't. I was thinking maybe they could be some kind of ghoul or something. It's certainly low level, but a lot of them. Although, admittedly, they're only. I need to keep remembering they're only level 1. I haven't started at level 1 for a very long time. And most of the time, I go level 3. You know, you're already quite competent at what you're doing. Whereas this is the very genesis of these people's kind of like adventure experience. They've not done anything before this, really. I mean, level 1 characters are slightly better than, the average person. So I really like the idea of them going into the going beneath the stage. Now, maybe they're chased into the stage. Maybe they, having performed there before, know of these ancient places that are beneath there, but they just don't want to go in there and are forced to by the masses of orcs. Harry P. Animated masks. It's a good idea, man. I suppose you can have like big masks on the walls and things carved into the stone. I suppose you can have animated masks on people's faces. That's yeah, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. I mean, there's one thing. Makes me think it's 3.5. I'm such a 3.5 fanboy. Like I do love fifth edition, but it's nostalgia for 3.5 that wins the day for me all the time. Like I remember I ran a campaign where I had an individual that was a prestige class, I think, in the Dungeon Master Guide 2 or whatever it was. There was a lot of books for 3.5. Might not have been in there actually. Might have been in like Unearthed Arcana or something. But there was a class called the Master of Masks, and he had a mask for basically every occasion. And you could basically, whenever you put the mask on, it gave you a particular kind of ability. The only problem was it obviously then made you very specialized at one thing at one time, and then you had to switch your masks. And I had a villain be a Master of Masks, and it was excellent fun because just because it was fun. Just lots and lots of scary masks. So yeah, that's not a bad idea with the masks there. But I've got to be careful with masks. I love masks, and I like giving all of my villains masks for some reason. Equinox being, the main mask dude of my prominent, online campaign. Gotta love a mask. Cave ducks. I immediately thought of the mechanisms used in ancient Rome for lifting animals to the arena, etc. So easy to fall down, something like that. Absolutely, it is, and it's funny you say that because, like I mentioned before, I do have a gladiatorial-esque half orc in there, so there is that kind of factor in there as well. As an amphitheater as well, I mean, if it's going to be like an ancient Greek or Roman amphitheater, there were these structures that obviously are raised all around it in a circle. But basically, it's a big funnel down to one location, the stage, which is in the center. So if there was to open and this is already rubble, oh no! God, this is not professional in any way. Um, so that's a really good idea, though, Cave Docs, to have like that kind of mechanism built into it. Although, yeah, I suppose an ancient, even though it's ancient, it could have that kind of thing. Absolutely, I do like it. So you see, it's interesting now. We go back to the beginning and we're saying about the making sure that your themes basically bleed into your settings and stuff. The idea of this stage, I mean, Scania itself is a play on stage in a different language. This is all come from one place, and already I've got a wicked action scene that's going to open my campaign. Um, then it's just using that kind of focusing tool to really narrow in on what you want to do, to the point that the stage is going to open up and swallow them. Excellent. Harry P. Animated clown costumes. Oh, isn't that just a clown costume that someone's wearing? Is that technically counts as an animated clown costume? Um, it's interesting. It's interesting. Um, okay. I Yeah. There's been sorry. I'm completely not focused now because I'm thinking of there's been like loads of sightings of people in clown masks. What with it being Halloween and stuff, a lot of people just walking around the neighborhoods and stuff wearing clown costumes and freaking people out. And some people really like it because they think, ah, it's like a crazy guy in a clown costume. And other people really don't like it because obviously a lot of people don't like clowns. I wonder why. So yeah, that distracted me. Sorry. So Cave Dogs, I think you might be confused with Link from Zelda with the masks. I might be confused. No, 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 no. This was a genuine thing. Master of Masks in 3.5. They were wicked. They were really cool. But I do definitely get your reference there with the Zelda and the masks. I mean, obviously Majora's Mask, that was a wicked game. I did actually nick something from a Zelda game in a campaign way back, and it was to do with basically the moon um, basically racing down, crashing out of the sky to the towards the Earth. It was going to kill them, but then Link obviously has to go back in time 3 days later, and he's back to where he is, and it's that race. And I did kind of use again from 3.5. There was a moon that was like alive, and it had a whole bunch of liches on it. A whole bunch of liches just hanging out on this moon that's curtling towards the known world. So that was fun. Anyway, I need to shut up about 3.5. So where did I get to? So they have been driven by the broken chain away from the battlefield where everyone else is being, I'm guessing, slaughtered. I mean, I do like a good slaughter every now and then. Don't say that on the live internet, Rob. Just keep that to yourself. Yeah, so they are going to be driven down into this stage, and this is going to be the first dungeon beneath an ancient amphitheater. So the standing stage. And I am going to write down animated masks because it was a good idea. So thank you very much for that. Yeah, that was Harry, wasn't it? Yeah, Harry. So standing stage, animated masks. So again, now thinking about a stage, I can now just funnel basically all of my. I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat at the same time. It's a really bad idea. I love a good slaughter. Really seeing the real Rob here. Maybe you are. Like I said, it may have been ill advice for me to announce that on a recording device to the world. But anyway, so I'm going to be trying to think of things that I can throw into this dungeon that's beneath this stage now. So animated masks is a great idea. And I think a mask theme can run throughout. I think perhaps there can be another skill challenge, perhaps, that relates to a doorway of some type, or maybe a mask that's on a wall. A mask on a wall that hides a secret door. I quite like that idea. Mask on wall hides secret door. Okay. Once again, guys in the chat, if you have any ideas for a anything that can be included in this dungeon that's going to be the catacombs beneath this theatre, then by all means throw it in there. I should probably look at the chat again. Matt Click from A Fistful of Dice. Evening, everyone. Hello, Matt. Thank you very much for joining me. Yeah. No need to grovel, cave ducks. Yeah, absolutely. We all gravel at Click's feet. Can't help it. It's just a natural reaction. Matt Brunel, hello there. Thank you for joining me. Have you heard of Grimtooth? Name rings a bell. I'm not entirely sure why though. So I guess no. I mean, I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is. So sorry. Maybe you can enlighten me. Harry P. Perhaps a certain mask shatters a huge mirror, revealing a tunnel. Oh, I see. So they find a particular mask that can break their way through. Yeah, so perhaps there's this vast mirror. I like that. There's a good idea for there being a mirror down there as well, because obviously you have to apply stage makeup, that kind of thing when you're off stage. So the idea of a big mirror there. That's a really good idea. I'm basically just no. I'm not making you write my campaign for me, but that is actually a really good idea. That makes an awful lot of sense for there to be a huge mirror down there as well. I'm going to put it down, man. Thank you very much. A huge mirror. That can only be broken by wearing a specific mask. However, there are certain things, certain issues that arise from such an issue, and that is laying clues. You've got to lay clues for that kind of thing. And although I do like writing different elusive clues and things like that, I am running this tomorrow, so I'm going to think about that. A huge mirror that can be broken by, yeah, okay. Well, it's on there and I can work with it for now. So let's go back. Harry P. Maybe they put on masks in closets to hide from orcs that follow them in. Oh, I see. So they can actually hide in amongst the costumes and things. Really old. I'm imagining this really long, narrow room that is just divided by all these really sinister looking costumes with masks that are just hanging there like that from like different parts of the room, and then walking in and being sure that one of them is going to leap out and become alive. Fistful of Dice. Maybe different masks give them different abilities to overcome puzzles. That's a friggin' awesome idea, man. This is what happens when you invite the Godfather to tea. I don't know what that means. Swim speed, dark vision, ability to cast mage hand, etc. That's an excellent idea. Mask awarding specific abilities, like the Master of Masks, which I explained earlier, which isn't nicked from Zelda. So masks award different abilities. To solve puzzles. Again, just to explain to any newcomers to the stream, I am actually just writing this by hand. I'm not putting it into a document or anything. I'm literally just putting it onto note paper. That's how I like to do things, especially when it's a home game and I'm not really going to have my computer with me when I do that. So, but no, that was an excellent suggestion. Thank you ever so much, Matt, for that. Gay docs. I like the idea of masks imbued with some fragment of knowledge from their previous owner. Significant clues for our escape route. Again, that's a really good idea. I mean, that I suppose is going to have to come into the whole nature of some of the masks being animated. Then they have some kind of trace residue of life about them to be able to retain such a thing. Or maybe there's some kind of mirror magic. Mirror magic, just going to make things up. I suppose there could be some kind of sort of life trace left upon the masks. Absolutely. Okay. So masks house knowledge of previous wearer. Sorry, guys. I know I'm quiet whilst I'm jotting these down, but it's got to go down. Okay. Grimtooth is a savage trap maker. When you get the time, I can add you to my Dropbox, in which I have half a dozen of his books. That would be excellent. Thank you very much, Matt Pronomicon. I'm always searching for new knowledge to feast upon. That would be really kind. Thank you very much, man. Harry P. Maybe smaller mirrors shatter as they are attacked by certain animated masks. Oh, as a clue. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, to be fair, if they've picked one up in front of a mirror and then it just breaks, they'll probably cotton on. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I can only be broken by wearing specific masks. Breaks. Mirror. I'm just gonna write that again so I remember. Okay. Matt Panonicon. Even if you don't like killing PCs, you can nerf many of these traps or use them for inspiration for your own. Dude, yeah, that sounds amazing, man. I mean, I have a whole list of sometimes, and this is really sometimes I'll focus on a really specific area, and for like if I'm like on a really long journey, like I have been on quite many long journeys lately with the move and stuff going on, I'll focus on one particular thing and I'll just open up a note in my phone and I will just write as many different trap ideas or NPC ideas as I can into one place. I just go this. So then I just have a back catalogue of things that I can just pull out of my mind and just go for it. But I will be more than happy to add all of those to that back catalogue. Fistful of Dice. Group 2 stuff is great. I've been eyeing it, the hardback collection, for a while. Ooh, that does sound cool. Is this an outsourcing party? I'm blank, but it has been a long day. Explain what you mean by an outsourcing party. Like, it's probably me being really dense right now, but I'm tired. That's my excuse anyway. Grimtooth is a personal hero of mine. I owned a signed first edition of his first book ever, and it was stolen from me. Fuck no, man. That's shit. Oh man. Pardon for my language. Sorry. That's what dice. What an awful thing to lose. Yeah. Oh man. How about a totem mask? Mapanoricon continues. A mask that is actually several masks just stacked on top of one or the other. I like that, but I think the totem mask maybe is gonna maybe we'll wander too far into the tribal ritual nature of masks rather than it being like a performance mask. I don't know. I don't know about that. It's a really good idea though, man. Like I think that's a cool idea. Much like a totem pole, and when you put your face in one of the designated areas, different abilities are activated. It's not a bad idea. I mean, the other thing that I'm desperately trying to make sure is that I keep this quite simple. For those who weren't watching earlier, I do have 2 brand new players who've never played before. So I am going to try and keep it relatively simple. That's why I'm worried about certain things. They might. I know a lot of the time I've seen it before when new players come in and they'll think that they're restricted by something because they don't fully understand the conventions of the game. They may not even think to do something unless I make sure I tell them. I like to think I'm quite good at teaching people D&D. I teach by doing. I just make them play, and then I just say, you just tell me what you want to do, and then I will tell you how you go about doing that. But yeah, the Macronomicon once again, or maybe a circle of masks with the same benefit. Absolutely. But yeah, it's something that I've got to be careful about. I don't want to make too complicated. But okay, so look, I mean, that's amazing so far. I mean, we've got the opening scene for the performance with the I can't even speak. The carnival, the performance that they're doing. So that's how they're going to introduce their characters through the nature of their particular act, rather than saying, "Oh, this is my character. They're a level 1 bard, blah blah blah." No. They're going to be on stage, and I'm going to say, "What is your act like?" And that's going to inform us about their characters. So I'm really happy about that. Then the Broken Chain are going to attack a force of militant ex-slaves led by Lashback, the orc, with his metal legs, is going to be stomping down the party. This is going to drive them, hopefully, onto the stage where combat will begin. And when all seems lost, they're going to somehow be able to escape into the lower reaches of the stage, which will be a mechanism for getting heavy bits of set up that was locked for a long time because it's an ancient ruined amphitheater, and they're going to fall in. They're going to fall in, and they're going to discover this intricate maze. I say intricate, not stupidly intricate, but it's going to be a network of tunnels beneath which was beneath the amphitheater, where all these masks and costumes are kept. There is going to be a challenge puzzle, which is going to be related with the masks and the mirrors. Ooh, that's a really good chapter title of Masks and Mirrors. Mirrors and Masks. That's really cool. I think because I've got to fill. Okay, it's going to be quite a long session. We're going from 1 p.m. to about 7, I believe. So I can really take my time on a few of these. I won't feel rushed about these encounters, which is great. I do like to over prepare though, just in case they do anything else. So I've got the masks, which I will work out probably off camera, because that's something that I'm really just going to have to sit down and think about in terms of actually making the puzzle slick. So now what's another encounter they can have beneath the stage? I really like the idea of the masks, the animated masks. I like the idea of that room with all those hanging costumes and something being in there. It's a shame I don't have the monster manual with me right now, but it's downstairs. I don't want to go get it yet, but I'll do it later. But something being there. I suppose I could reskin like the Scarecrow, perhaps, because they're relatively weak, but could be made up of all this clothing and stuff. So yeah, we'll see. Go back to the chat. Macronomicon, my bad, just got in now. What are we designing? I think you've got what we does from what I've just described. Yeah, beneath this strange stage, the standing stage. Olimara's masks is the classical laughing and frowning face. Yeah, that's something that I'm working on, having a symbol made for me for my performance check. Is that? But what if you put half of your face on one side of the mask? Do you then assume the ability reflected in their face? That's really cool, man. You're just throwing out all this really cool stuff, man. I like it. I am hesitant about giving them anything too powerful at the beginning as well, as they're level 1. We'll see. We'll see. Harry P, depending on how scary you want this to be, I'm imagining Greek tragedy masks which change from happy to angry. when players cross the threshold. Dude, that's exactly the kind of thing I love doing. I don't really mention this enough, but I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, and that is something that the Doctor Who was really good at. Doctor Who is really spot on at making the mundane suddenly become sinister, and the idea of just a normal mask and then just going angry all of a sudden when you look back at it, that's so I adore that kind of thing. So maybe when they're going through, in fact, you know what? This is one thing that I like to do. This is a performance check exclusive. So there's this thing that always happens in films, and it's called I forgot what it's called now. It's basically giving someone a false sense of security. So imagine this rogue sneaking through this rail of costumes, and they're looking because they hear something. Oh, there's something there, like a creaking perhaps, and they look and they say, "Oh, give me a perception check." And they'll look and they'll say, "Oh, no, there's nothing there." And they turn and they see a mask there, and it's got a smiling face, and they're like, oh, "There's another noise." Perception check. They look over. No, you don't see anything. When you look back and it's changed, that's the sort of thing that is good for freaking people out. Basically, it's really cool to be horrifying and to show horrifying things, but it's even better to have it happen without people even notice until it's too late. Matt Pronomicon, homunculus? It's like you're offering that as a nibble at a dinner party. Homunculus? Homunculus? Ragamuffins too. You know what? Now that I think of it, yeah, they are basically ragamuffins, but I don't like ragamuffins very much. I always thought they were a bit rubbish. I always thought, oh, I'm being attacked by clothes. You know what I mean? Like if I went to see a film and there were people being attacked, well, it's more of a Harry Potter thing, if you know what I mean? Like I can imagine that happening in Harry Potter. I don't really imagine it happening in like D&D, fantasy, wizardry, that sort of stuff. I don't know. Poltergeist working through the mask, I'm guessing is what you mean. Fallen by a tragic death on stage one fateful night. That's that's not a bad idea. Yeah, I quite like that actually. Now it exacts its revenge with a subtle dramatic flair. Yeah, I like this. I mean, this is the thing. Like another thing that I'm really happy about in terms of and something that I know is more suited to a home game than it is an online game is that this is going to be like this is a dungeon crawl, a good old classic dungeon crawl. So this does mean that I get to have I will be able to keep them there for longer. I feel that if I was online and I was just doing theatre of the mind, I think dungeons obviously you're having to keep it all in your head. You don't have anything in front of you, but because I'm using my my brand new my brand new D&D battle mat and Dungeon Master screen. I finally got the Dungeon Master screen. I'm really happy because I can just take more time in the dungeon because I'm not having to rely on people just remembering everything. It's right in front of them, and not as slick in terms of storytelling, but dungeon crawl's a dungeon crawl. Now exacts revenge with the subtle dramatic flair. Yeah, man, I really like that idea. That's pretty cool. I like to think maybe instead of it being kind of just the poltergeist, I think maybe if it's just like the evil, the fact that this happened on this stage a long time ago, and that curse, that evil, is basically just seeped into the fabric of everything around it, and that is like what's causing this, So then I can have a variety of different things down there, rather than it just being a single poltergeist manipulating everything. If you know what I mean, like it makes it it has a bit more variety that way, I think. And I think for first time D&D players, I want to really showcase, like basically, I'm treating this as if if they've never played D&D before, I need to show them what D&D is in the first session. So I'm going to show them the classic villain of the orc. I'm going to show them the dark tunnels of a dungeon. That's what I'm going for here. I'm going for quintessential. I'm gonna have a quick drink. For those new to the stream, when I started, I was just explaining like I'm in sort of like a corner. This is the only place I could go in my new room because I haven't got the setup. I'm trying to reach for my. Oh dear. There we go. I don't know how long I've been going. Right, I'm going to think up maybe a boss for this dungeon or something that they have to do at the end and the future, where they're going to go. So, after the dungeon, obviously, but that's where they're going to go once they finish the dungeon. Dark altars, maybe a terribly long dead god or spirit who was a fan of plays or was in one. The traveling troupe actually have an old matron or patron leader. Yeah, again, that's another pretty good one. I mean, this is the thing, like, I'm kind of happy to go kind of ambiguous with this one. And that's the great thing about like storytelling, is that there are different versions of story. So perhaps they hear a version where they're like, oh yeah, there is a ghost down there that's manipulating everything beneath there. But then a completely conflicting tale where people are like, oh no, that was a dark altar for a long dead god. You know, like sometimes you don't always have to be like, this is what this is. Like, because if you imagine like watching a horror film, for instance, a lot of the time, like they'll go through the whole thing and they won't really know what it is. Like, I mean, it's not probably the best example, but they don't ever really find out what is doing all the horrible stuff in The Shining, what's possessing Jack Torrance, that kind of thing. Like, they don't know. I mean, that's the film, so that's why I said it's a bad example. The book is different, but you get what I mean. So ambiguity can be a weapon that is helpful. It can be really helpful because you'd be like, yeah, no one knows. And then as long as you have these different conflicting stories, like, you know, then at least, well, maybe it's one of them. The old leader is actually a priestess trying to resurrect the spirit or god, either using poor actors that go missing or citizens no one will miss. That's pretty cool, man. I think I would save that for a more of a used theatre. This theatre doesn't get used very often because well, one, it's an amphitheatre that's in ruins. You know, it's not something that gets used an awful lot. Just once a year for this festival, when the travellers converge at the crossroads. I decided that's why. That's when it's like a solstice almost, like that kind of thing. Nebuchadnezzar, I'm super flooded with ideas now. The chat is blocking me because I'm responding so frequently. You're spamming me with all of your excellent ideas, man. This stream is giving me some great ideas for a Call of Cthulhu game I'm playing. Absolutely. Well, that's the thing. I love having really frightening. I like my games to be frightening, because they would be. If you think about yourself being trapped in that situation, even if it isn't like a horror element, like I'll take my Lorekeepers game for an example. There was a fight on the Cloud March, which is a really tall bridge, and I wanted it to be frightening. I wanted it to be scary, like, you know, as you would be if your life is dangling by a thread above a really, really high, really long fall. Like, it's scary. It's a really scary thing. So it's important to make, even if it isn't a horror game, you still need them to be scared. You still need to have fear and tension. So yeah, absolutely. This kind of thing would be perfect for Call of Cthulhu. Do love a bit of Cthulhu. Apanonicon, yeah, it could be a ghost. But these are first-time PCs. I find that you go to the big scary right off the hop, because most of them aren't as geared to the subtleties of a nuanced gaming. Maybe, but I mean, this is the thing. I mean, I think new players can often surprise you. I think, like, I mean, I've been surprised by many new players that have gone about an approach in a different way to how, as you put it, us old timers do. I mean, sometimes they're in a better position a more advantageous position to think outside the box because they've never experienced this before, so they're bringing something new to the table. You're going to use a drama-themed campaign and not go big. Lol. It's that's true. That's true. But I mean, not all drama has to be big. But I know what you mean. And dude, it's inevitable that I go big. I always make things epic. I always do. And I always find myself thinking, oh, why didn't I just do a small campaign set around like a town? No, I'm using epic wars and great cities and things like that. And I have to really rein myself in. But no, I don't think drama has to be big all the time. And I mean, this is only a motif that's going to run through it because of their history. I mean, not every villain they're going to face is a thespian. There's going to be all sorts of different things, but it's because this is the genesis. This is where it began. This is their background, their heritage, is performance. So this is basically their life from performance running headlong into their new lives adventurers, the theatre and the dungeon delving are colliding into one. This is going to be their life, and this is the transition. So, dangling by a vine. Oh, the clown march, Aether. Yeah. He did dangle by a vine. That was really fun. I mean, that's one of the oldest. I think oldest tricks in the book. It's one of my oldest tricks in my book. I don't know if anyone else uses that. It's a safety net essentially. That dangling vine I mentioned. There were vines and scaffolding beneath the cloud march at the beginning. I was like, there's all sorts underneath there. So I knew if someone was going to go off, there was always the chance they could land in the vines. But you're not thinking about that at the time. They're thinking, oh shit, I failed my save. I'm falling. That's it. Done. Finito. The devil's in the details. I keep saying that. Never mind. I'm saying that quite a lot lately, and I probably should stop. Drama doesn't need to be big. You can get more tension with creepy subtlety. Yeah, absolutely. Less is more. I'm just flinging all sorts of sayings around, hoping they'll stick. Less is more. Devil's in the details. These aren't things that actually help at all in any way, but they are nonetheless still true. That was nice. Okay, so guys, I'm just froze and I've not been doing any work, so back to it. So Scania. Scania is the land. It's great, and this I've got a whole thing set out for the session now. This has been really helpful, but I still need something to culminate at the end of this encounter beneath this theatre. So, what if there was an idea above? I think it was Harry. I do apologize if it wasn't Harry. It might have been Cave Docs. One of you brilliantly said there were the lifts that they used in ancient Rome beneath the amphitheaters and the colosseums, and they were generally used to bring big animals up and a large amount of gladiators or large amount of chariots. I was thinking, wouldn't it be really cool if the last fight occurred on a second one of these for a second part of the stage that is now, because this is ruined, is now buried. So we now just have this swinging, horrible mechanism that's just stuck there now. And it was Cave Docs. Thank you very much, Harry. Thank you very much, Cave Docs, for your idea as well. And hey, Carol, how's it going? So I'm thinking, what if they end up sliding down this now broken sort of second sort of lift thing that's there? Maybe it's on its side. and they enter the place where they used to keep some of the animals and the creatures that they used to fight on the stage. Ooh, yeah. That's really cool. But at the same time, they're only level one, so it can't be that big. How did it survive down there? You're probably asking. Well, maybe it was an animal that bred there, and now it's like a just an eternal nest of something like a spider or a. I really kind of want to go and get my monster manual, but I don't want to leave the stream just inactive with nothing happening. So I'm gonna wait and work out. Unless you guys have your monster manuals with you and you would like to suggest what kind of animal or monster could be down there. Because I think it would be really cool to have something act as kind of like a major threat in the catacombs. Saber-toothed tiger tamer. So a saber-tooth. Um, that's not a bad idea. Like the thing is, like they have to. I mean, maybe the reason they have to pass it is because the saber-tooth or whatever it is knows how to get out. Like, and it clearly has made its own sort of cave in there, and it has its own way of getting out. So it's another exit, and that'll be their cue to go. This is how we can escape. So that's not a bad idea. But I do like a saber-tooth tiger. However, I mean, wouldn't a saber-tooth tiger savage like level ones? I don't know. Like I wish I had a monster manual. I have my DMG. That one's there. Oh, okay. Well, there's the saber-tooth one idea. What about let's have another one. What else can we have down there? Carol says, "Oh, my monster manual is in my mailbox across town right now. Finally, awesome, good, excellent. It's just handy, isn't it? It's handy to have just a bunch of monsters on hand. It's great." Harry P. Perhaps the tiger fell with them and scampered off into the dungeon. Maybe. But I like the idea of them not knowing what's down there. They can hear it before they see it. You know, make it a bit scarier. But it could still be a saber-tooth tiger. Absolutely, I quite like the idea of it being a saber-tooth. Oh, mashups and monsters. It's what the kids do. Yeah, the mashups. Oh my god, like a Transformer, Darth Vader. I actually had like a Transformer Boba Fett. I was really happy with that. It turned from Boba Fett, looking like Transformer looking Boba Fett, into Slave One, and it was I was happy with that. But yeah, mashups are slightly different as I understand it. Okay, do the Scooby Doo turns out to be someone just in a costume or with an illusion spell? It's just hanging out under there. One of the idea was that no one's been down there for a very long time. I don't know, maybe. It could be. It could be. I kind of like the idea of the place itself being corrupted. Some stage performance in the beginning. To answer that, Harry, there is going to be a stage performance at the beginning. They're all going to get their opportunity to perform. A canard. I don't remember what a canard is. Is it a bird? I generally don't remember what a canard is. I could Google it, but what about some sort of insect? Yeah, like I thought like a spider. I mean, again, I'm trying to go with quintessential D&D, so maybe a giant spider is what's needed. The one that I really like. I just thought like maybe it's just like an animal, like a saber-tooth tiger or like a crocodile. I love the idea. I've wanted to throw a crocodile at someone for a long time. Just take that sentence there out of context. That's hilarious. I wanted to throw a crocodile at someone for a really long time. Never got the opportunity. I lack the context, unfortunately, says Carol, for the Transformers that I was talking about. Don't worry, Carol. Don't worry. It's fine. Just me, just rambling. Oh, so the insects survive underground for long periods. Yeah, like an ant keg. Not a bad idea. I'm not really a huge fan of the ant keg, personally. I generally try and avoid quite a lot of the insects in the monster manual. I don't know why. I like the spider. And I like. No, that's not an insect. Arachnid. So you know what I mean. I don't know. Spiders, whatever size works. Yeah, suitable for gladiator show as well. Impressive and dangerous, but a level one party could deal with. I know it's tricky, isn't it? I mean, I was thinking, well, there are ways that I can level the playing field in that, but I mean, I can. I'm not going to pull my punches in terms of damage, but I could pull my punches in terms of the situation they find themselves in. Maybe the creature is like chained to something, and while they are in the same room as it, and it can still do stuff to them, it can't fully, let rip. And that's like maybe the in fact, that could be the tense moment in the whole campaign, is that this monster could be too powerful for them, but it is tethered, and they have a limited time before this thing can break out. But then again, if it was tethered, why would it be down? It wouldn't have survived. It wouldn't have been able to get food. So maybe that doesn't work. See, it's things like this that you really need to ensure that the logic is sound with this kind of thing. Like if it was a monster that had lived down there for a long time, and had some way of surviving, then that's absolutely fine. But if it was just tethered down there for no reason, then the whole thing falls apart. So I had to catch myself doing that there, because we all do it. Bugbear. See, bugbears are very opportunistic, and I don't think a single bugbear would stay on its own down there for no reason. I don't think, unless I could go jokingly and say that the bugbear was an aspiring actor and decided it wanted to live under the stage like a weird, hairy wannabe Hamlet. Carol says, I don't know what a canard is either. No, I'm pretty sure it's a bird. Pretty sure. We had a blast with giant spiders early on in our Pathfinder campaign. Spiders, man, they're really good. Like, I don't go for them that often because, like, they're very popular. A lot of people like using giant spiders, and that's because they're cool. I get that, but sometimes I try and avoid that. Like, sometimes I try and avoid orcs. Like, orcs are a really good staple D&D thing, but I think unless you have an element of story which means why they're there, then I think they then become like the enemy that's there for the sake of it. Whereas I wanted to make sure that these orcs have a real purpose, and their purpose is actually, in a way, understandable. So, uh, for monster picking context, what sort of monsters? Oh well, Carol. Yeah, of course. Sorry, because you hadn't seen the rest of the stream. So basically, the players will be in a dungeon which is the belly of an old archaic stage. It is the catacombs beneath an amphitheater, essentially. So yeah, that's what the context is. That's all I can say. And it has to have been down there a long time. No, tethered animal doesn't work too well. We all know dragons can live forever underground and grow too big to get in and out. Right? Yes, that's right. That is absolutely right. That's a good way of having a dragon that you can escape from. Is to have a dragon have grown so big it can't get out of the hole that it used to get in. So yeah. Sorry, I've just skipped a whole bunch of comments there. Cave Dogs. I had my party hunt a giant crocodile called Crocky Dick. Like Moby Dick, right? It turned out to be a druid in Beast Swarm serving a black dragon. Fun times, dude. That sounds awesome. No, because I was saying earlier how I really want to use a crocodile, and I was thinking like an albino crocodile, maybe like a white crocodile, because it's been underground for so long. Maybe that's quite cool. A hibernating bear. Yeah, definitely hibernating bear. That's a really good one. If you wake up a bear, it'll be scary. Or a zombie animal. Yeah, zombie animals are great. But then again, I have to then I have to sort of ensure why why there are zombies. Um, but then again, I say that I want to be ambiguous with sort of the curse that's on this stage, so could just be the evil of the stage. You wanted to live forever. You wanted to be on stage forever. Be a zombie. Oh, that was the Carol one that I read. Sorry, really tired. I'm just trying to pick a Okay, so giant albino crocodile, hence the awful pun name. Yeah, dude, an albino crocodile, amazing. Oh, but now you don't mind if I have an albino crocodile, do you, Cave Docs? You don't think that I'm robbing it. I love Crocky Dick. I love that. That's hilarious because it's sort of a pun, but not. It's kind of like an ill-made attempt at a pun, and it's great. I love it. Crocky Dick. Phantom of the Bugbear. Yeah, Phantom of the Bugbear, man. That's a really good idea. I love it. Actually, a troop of bandits have been using the other exit and living down there and storing their stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Well, if there's an obvious way in, then I suppose that could be yeah, that could be a definite. Yeah. But then again, I think from them running from orcs and then running to bandits, like I'm really, really up on this I'm really up on this crocodile idea now. The evil of the stage causes horrible puns. You're right, it does. Someone said good luck and it all went downhill from there. That's amazing. Yeah. Someone said the play Macbeth rather than the Scottish play. And they were like, shit, now we're cursed. That's hilarious. I'm actually gonna write that down. That's a really good idea. That's why the curse is there. It could be because I'm tired, but dude, I love that. Of course, the stage is obviously full of superstition. Superstition. Only there is no Scotland in my world, so I'm gonna say that this was a famous play from the frontier, which is another realm in the Nine Kingdoms. Actually, it's the first one that I made from the Nine Kingdoms for another home group. The first thing I posted on the Absolute Tabletop Facebook way back was the map of the frontier. I was really happy with that one. So superstitions. Someone said good luck. And Macbeth, but not Macbeth. Macbeth. So Tethback. That's the name of the play. Tethback. Tethback. K-Doc says steal it. You know what, mate? I might. And maybe the crocodile won't be in this bit, but I definitely want a crocodile now. I love the idea of an albino crocodile. So I kind of guessed where you were going before you said albino. But Crocky Dick, I mean, Moby Dick was a white whale, so obviously it was. I'm stealing it. I'm not making excuses, Cave Dogs. If you aren't married to an animal, hopefully I'm not. I'm stupid, I'm sorry. If you aren't married to an animal and want to go with the curse of the stage, you could go with animated dress forms or something that costumes were stored or made on. Distracted artist. That's a really, really good suggestion, and it is actually something that we did cover a little earlier. There is going to be these animated masks earlier in the dungeon. There is going to be like maybe some animated costumes as well that I'm going to reskin from scarecrows, maybe that sort of thing. That is a good idea, man, and I'm going to play with it. I'm going to scare some people with that, I think. Carol, my husband just got home with the mail. I now have a monster manual. Excellent, excellent, good stuff, and the DMG guide. Excellent. Oh, kiss the stage. Okay, guys. So in terms of the boss, I think I do need to tie it back more to the theme of the stage. So, um, what I could do is I just need to think of maybe it could be like an animated element of the stage, but what could it be? It could be like the oh, it could be like the curtains. They get attacked by the curtains. That's not very good. Ooh, that's tricky. That's really tricky. Maybe some orcs follow them down at the end, and then they have to fight like one orc that manage to follow them. Ooh, that's not a bad idea actually. Because then the one orc that's down there can give a bit of a spiel about why the broken Jane are there. Maybe. What would animate the masks and costumes? That would be a good boss. So like a really big, yeah, that's not a bad idea actually. Like a really big. Maybe this Fatback, the Fatback, the main protagonist of the play, um, erupts into form with masks and curtains and things like that. Reskin from ropes and pulleys as well, Harry P. I like this. So basically, all the elements of the stage are going to transform into this one being that then attacks them. I really like that. And then it could have a really, really big mask that's on like the back wall of the back of this old amphitheater, and it can like float down at the end. So then it's basically just this big red mass of these old rotten curtains with rope flicking out, like tendrils almost. Oh, that's great. I love it. So big. How do I even describe that? I'll work it out when I stat it. I won't be statting on this, by the way. It's a big animated creature made of theatre curtains. The wings, and rope tendrils, and a giant mask. Guys, I love this. This is great. A vine blight reskinned. Harry, can you tell me if the vine blight is in the 5th edition monster manual? That'd be really helpful because yes, you're absolutely right. That would be helpful for the ropes and pulleys. I'm a crazy actor that animates the elements of the play. Yeah, absolutely. So I really like the idea of basing off Macbeth. I've done a few productions of Macbeth myself in my professional life, and I do really love Macbeth. And there's some really great elements in there that I can really pull out from there. Like I won't call it Macbeth, but it'll be a similar kind of thing where the guy wants power, sees his power, then suffers from paranoia, sees ghosts at the feast banquet, and then essentially then gets scared of being betrayed, and starts killing more people. Basically, now he's king and he's stolen power by killing the king. He's now paranoid he's going to lose it, so he's a bad ruler. So then people rise up against him, and thus that is also his downfall. So I will definitely try and instill that in this beast when I'm doing it. So yeah, it's a really cool idea though. I'm really happy with Fat Beck. Fat Beck is great. Oh dear. Okay. Oh god, the chat's going crazy. What's going on, guys? Good one, Harry. Oh yeah, that's a great idea, Carol. have the intro act play echo the events the players then go through. Maybe, guys, I know I see what you mean about it actually having the play sort of um, be echoing through the dungeon. I'll have elements of that. We'll see. We'll see. I might do. I'm going to write it down. Play echoes throughout dungeon. Okay. Wizard or sorcerer gone mad by the curse of the stage. Yeah, something like that. Like I like the idea of it being slightly like this evil construct that then uses the stage like a the whole thing is like this living thing that wants to devour those who dare go beneath. Page 32. Oh, is that for the vine blight? Vine blight. Page 32. I'm just making a note of it just so I remember. Dude, thank you so much. That's a genius idea, reskinning that. And that's the thing. I mean, you've got to you have to think outside the box in terms of using the monster manual. The latest monster manual for 5th edition, there aren't as many monsters in it as there have been in previous editions. There's a lot less to work with, I find. And I know there's obviously a lot online now, and there are extra books out there. But for just using the standard stuff, like if you just have the standard 3 D&D books, which is all I have. No, that's a lie. I have some of the adventure modules as well. For 5th, I'm just talking about 5th, by the way. I have much more for the 3.5. You've got to be adaptable, and you have to be able to change things. And reskinning is the best way to do that. So good job, Harry. Beat me to it, Harry. Cave Ducks. Well, thank you very much, Cave Ducks, as well. Me too. Chat CR half. Okay, so I can buff that a little bit actually. Okay, I will put that down so I remember. CR half. Buff it. Yes, easy to change and buff, isn't it, Harry? Yeah, absolutely. Carol, why can't I come up with a plot or encounters for my own game? Do you know what, Carol? I think what it is that there are different types of creators. I think there are people that flourish when it comes to the initial spark, and I think that there are people that do better when they take something and then they twist it and they add their own spin on it. So maybe you're one of those, Carol. I mean, you've definitely given me a bunch of suggestions in there. So, I mean, one thing you might like to try, Carol, is I mean, I know there's an awful lot of different. I mean, you can just Google adventure hooks. Okay, Google just a standard as bare as you like adventure hook, like so and so has been kidnapped, or so this thing is in a dungeon and it needs to be got. Make sure that you have that initial idea, and you can take that from anywhere, and it be as bare as bones. But then your job is then to decorate that and to develop it to a point where it's something of your very own. If you understand what I mean, that would be my suggestion for you. They're only level 1 after all. Yes, Harry. Yeah, they are only level 1, which is unnerving me a little bit because I haven't run anything for level 1s for a while. So I've just got to hold the wrath back, as it were. God, it is nearly midnight. I've been doing this for quite a while. Okay, so if you stuck on with me so long, then thank you ever so much. I've been an incoherent, rambling mess. So the Vine Blight reskinned. Absolutely. Great. Well, you know what? That is actually quite a lot. So let's go for the recap once again. So this is what I've managed to do in a couple of hours. Okay. I came up with the name Scania, which is a play on stage in a number of different languages. Because I thought of that I was given that initial stimuli from my players. They were saying that they want to start off in this carnival, this group of traveling players. So that's where the name of the land came from. And also, I mean, that can also work for, you know, obviously the famous quote, "All the world's a stage," but also if you're thinking about the stage, there's also a term known as the theatre of war. So maybe Scania was once a battleground long ago. In fact, I really like that idea, that it was actually the theatre of war for many different encounters, uh, battles, that kind of thing. So there's the name. The initial name is already of the entire place has given me an idea to start with my campaign. I then collect my ideas and I think, well, I want my players to be introduced in some way, and it's got to be using what they've already told me. They want to be on stage. So this is how I introduce the characters. I introduce them on stage with their own acts so they can then demonstrate what they're good at and give us a little bit of personality, what they're like. Then an element of the plot comes in, and the only element of the plot that I have is that the broken chain have been liberated by an unknown force and are now running amok, and destroying all of those that would, have slaves. But I didn't actually mention this, that the reason is a really, really bare bones reason as to why, but basically I want a number of the encounters in this campaign for the main plot to be centered around trying to cause despair around the land. Because with enough despair, and when all hope is lost, it makes the land much more pliable for dark magic and rituals and things like that. When a land has lost all hope, like, that does something. So the reason this is happening, the reason why whoever it was that got the broken chain involved is also working on other means to bring about despair. So it will be the hero's job to loosely counter these. And that's what the campaign's going to be. And this is just the first one. So you go from there. So yeah, the broken chain are going to make their presence known. They're going to attack the players and their friends, their NPC friends, and their NPC troop, their NPC performers. And the battle is going to take place on stage. And once they're all on stage, the the old ruined stage itself is going to give in, and it's going to open up and swallow them whole. And then they find themselves trapped beneath the standing stage in a dungeon filled with animated masks that are on walls that hide secret doors. There's also a huge mirror that can only be broken and passed by wearing a specific mask that breaks the mirror. They can then continue onwards until another puzzle. The one puzzle that I do need to work out still, which is the mask awarding different abilities to solve puzzles. I do really like that, like the swim speed that Matt Click mentioned earlier. Really, really smart idea. Really smart. And the mask's also imbuing them with some kind of knowledge. So I think maybe whenever they put a mask on, I can just use my own discretion as a DM to give them a flash of a memory that can give them clues. So that's a backup in case they don't know what they're doing, which I kind of like. That way it doesn't seem cheaty. It doesn't seem like me going, "Oh, you sure you don't want to go over here?" No, it's an actual narrative way of me saying, well, the mask shows you this, and it shows you the way through or something. Okay, and then they are then going to get through that mirror then, through that challenge where it gives them a different ability. They're going to learn as they go through that the play, Fatback, is echoing throughout the dungeon, and there's lots of different art and things that are happening in the dungeon that are slightly mirroring this. And then finally they are met. They meet a giant animated creature made up of theatre curtains, the wings, rope tendrils, and a giant mask, which is actually a vine blight reskinned from page 32 of the Monster Manual. And from breaking through there, you can then reach the stage door, which is the back of the stage, or something like that. Great. And they may even run into an albino crocodile if I decide. So there we go. Isn't that great that you can just sit down and with one primary focus, in this case, the stage, I have the name of the realm, and I have an entire theme to base my first session on, and indeed things that can be used that you can echo throughout the rest of the campaign. So that's great. So yeah, I'm gonna say that's about it. I think I'm really happy with the way that's gone. If you have any questions for me at all about anything that I did just now, or anything about my channel, or anything about like things I've mentioned before, please go ahead and just whack something in the comments. I will stick around for just a little bit, have a quick drink because my throat's really dry. If not, I won't take offense and I will just leave. So if you've got any questions, fire them away now. Oh. I don't blame you if you don't have any. I wouldn't want to ask me a question either. No, this is just me. This is just me sat here on the internet not doing anything. That was fun. I'm dying for a cup of tea. Yeah. So am I actually, man. Okay, in that case then, I have an open question for anyone. Okay, Cave Docs, go ahead. We'll end on this then. We'll end on Cave Docs' question for anyone. Hopefully it won't be like a theoretical question. Tea, orange spice, yum. Have normal tea. Speaking as a British person who instantly automatically know more about tea. I'm just kidding. Love me a spot on breakfast. Builder's tea. If you need to have Builder's tea. Builder's tea is the greatest tea in the world. It just is. I'm still waiting for the question, Docs. Otherwise, I'm gonna, because you know, I have an open question. I don't know if you're answering it or not. I smell grey in the cupboard. Harry, I'm not being funny, but Earl Grey to me tastes like dust. It's dust. I don't know why. Cave Docs. Here we go. I'm about to start Adventures in Middle Earth campaign. Players start as escorts for a traveling troop who are probably going to die, but I don't have any idea what happens next. There you go, traveling troop. It's a good thing to start with. Although, to be honest, I've never heard of a troop in Middle Earth. I'm guessing they must exist. There's plenty of lore to do plays about and stuff in Middle Earth. The Silmarillion. just take the Silmarillion. So let's read that again. So I'm about to start Middle Earth campaign. Players start as escorts for a traveling troop who are probably going to die, but I don't have any ideas what happens next. Well, dude, I'd say as it's Middle Earth, and if it's the first time I'm guessing you're using the 5th edition OGL of it. Yeah, after the death of Smaug, that's when it's set. I've had a look through that PDF, not like in too much depth, but from what I got, like it's definitely all about drumming, like a very Tolkien-esque kind of campaign. And I don't think it's funny. Like I don't think I would make sure that you ask yourself where the traveling troop are going. That's what I would do. I would say, what is their journey? Like journeys are about what Middle Earth's all about, really. It's all about going on an adventure. That's how I would angle doing anything in Middle Earth. I wouldn't do it confined to one location. So I would ask myself, where are the troop going? Like, are the troop hoping to do an open mic night at the Black Gate of Mordor? Not that, but like what are they, why are they going there? Like, and then I would say that once the troop get killed, then they are left to finish the task on their own without help. So say for instance, they were told, we need to get this, we need to reclaim this area of Angmar before the forces of evil take it, before the Witch King rises or whatever. And send them with 500 men. Yeah. Have those 500 men killed so that then it's just left to the player characters to somehow defend an area. That's what I do. So then they basically, their journey to Angmar, and then they're then working out how they're going to defend it, and them having to get allies to help them defend this area. I don't know, like that's just off the top of my head, but that's what I would do for Middle Earth anyway. K-Docs, I'm running an anime game now too, and it's hard to get an idea going. Oh, Adventures in Middle Earth. Yes, sorry. Yeah, that's spot on. So the story of how Smorg was destroyed. Oh, yes. So the trooper telling the story of how Smorg was destroyed. That's a really cool idea. My characters were escorting an elven emissary that will be kidnapped by someone. I'm not sure who's behind it. Carol, I'd say that first your players will need to take word to someone about the death of the troop. Then you met someone to give you another quest, as Rob is saying. Yeah, like, dude, I know obviously mine wasn't exactly the example that we're using, but I would really hammer home the kind of the journey and the adventure of it, really. I've not run Middle Earth myself yet, so that's the best I can give you, I'm afraid. Traveling from Dale to Minas Tirith, that's a long way. Dale's there. Minas Tirith is here. And Mordor is there. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna go. But thank you ever so much for joining me as I create the first chapter of my new campaign, which is now going to be called Mazes and Masks, Mazes and Monsters. No, of Mirrors and Masks. And this has been really great. This has been really awesome. And it's been helpful for me because it's been able to keep me focused on making this campaign beginning. And I hope it's been helpful to you. I know I rambled quite a lot, but hopefully there's something in there that you might find helpful in creating your campaigns. So with that said, thank you very much. I can't talk. I'm so tired. Thank you ever so much for watching. You've been watching Performance Check. If you have a particular way that you like to handle creating a campaign, a session 1, then whack it in the comments below. If you would like to see more like this, then give me a like and give me a subscribe if you like. That would be awesome, so we can be friends forever. Seriously, we can. No, yeah, until next time, thank you very much, and I hope that all of your performances are up to standard. And slowly scroll down because I always forget to hit stop broadcast. That could be problematic.